Hey, this is Nick, and today we're doing another collectible review. This is the Independence Day Alien Attacker, and this is from Trendmasters 1996 toy line. So this is not in scale with the 6-inch figures or the 12-inch or 14-inch, whatever size that larger electronic alien is. But this is a smaller size, so it's more for like little 2-inch figures. But it's a cool way to get a representation of the ship. So they made this, which is an electronic vehicle, and they made the jet as well. So real quick, before we go into the review of the ship, I wanted to do a quick update on the Supreme Commander figure, which I did a review on recently. And if you recall, the one I had gotten, the head couldn't shut the whole way, and he didn't make the sounds or do the motion where its head splits open. I did get another one for a really good deal online, and this one's head does shut entirely, and I can open it manually or shut it manually, but it doesn't have the ability for it to open and shut, but it does have, let's see here. Uh-oh. Now that the cameras are on, it doesn't want to work. Here we go. It does have the motion activated sound effects. So, just wanted to do an update there. Because in the last video, you guys did not get to see what the sounds were like. So there you get to see the head fully closed, and I do like that sound effect. It is kind of creepy, but I still would have preferred some movie sound effects. But again, I understand these figures are made while they're still making the movie, so they don't have access to all that kind of stuff. So that's another thing with this. This is electronic as well, and it does work. You see we have lights and sounds. These translucent blue areas aren't exactly movie accurate, neither is the lights, but it does make it pop a little bit more. Instead of it just being a gray piece of plastic, it highlights and accentuates everything. Although I think this windshield area would still be there. But really cool. And yeah, I mean, it doesn't have the same sound that they make in the movie, but they're decent sound effects. So here's the packaging. Really nice box art. I really miss this old school 90s packaging, especially for vehicles and ships where you get a cool fantasy situation displayed there. Really nice image of the vehicle with the cockpit opened up and all its accessories there. Here we get a larger image there. So you see it does come with an alien, a little 2-inch version of the attacker pilot. We get the mines or the bombs, and we get 4 missiles. I believe it can only hold 2 at a time, so you get a set of spares here. But really nice, slick, simple but bold packaging. Really love that image of the biosuit there. So very, very sharp. And I had mentioned that the prices on the Supreme Commander figure fluctuate, and I got really good deals on them. Same thing with this. I've seen this go for like $100 plus. I got this shipped for like maybe $30. So this was obviously one that was opened and maybe played with or displayed. If it was played with, it was played with very gently. But the person was obviously thoughtful enough to keep the box over the years, keep things like the instructions and all the little accessories that go with it, which is cool. So yeah, this was one that was taken out of the packaging and put back in to be sold. So that might be one of the reasons it was a little bit cheaper. If you get one that's like totally sealed and has never been opened, that might be more expensive. But then again, keep in mind the batteries have never been changed, so you might be dealing with a battery acid situation like I was dealing with my first Supreme Commander, the one I reviewed in that initial video. So yeah, the plus side, again, one that someone's opened up and displayed or played around with, is chances are they swapped out the batteries, so we do still have this feature. So there we have our battery pack back there. Really nicely detailed underside. I like this ship design too. It's really nice how it's a little bit of a throwback to your classic saucer design, but it's got enough of its own distinct personality going on here. I feel like it's very iconic and representative of the 90s. And then same with the alien design. You know, there's enough of a throwback to your classic movie monster design of the 50s, but it also has its own uniqueness as well. So, and you know, same with the film. It's enough of its own thing, but it's also a little bit of a homage as well. So I mentioned they kept things like the directions, which are pretty nicely detailed and thorough, especially for 90s directions. Now you see this is actually a pretty complicated toy for what's going on here. I thought this was going to be pretty simple, like, oh, you just open it up, you toss the figure in there, you got some missiles, there you go. But there's a lot going on here. So, you know, we have 2 sets of missiles, both buttons work. So, I mean, I thought this would be like your typical thing where one of these panels is the actual button and the other one's just there for show and is sculpted on, but they both work. Which is cool because you have some symmetry going on there. I mean, you don't need them both to, you know, operate sounds, because I think they operate the same sounds. But it's nice because then you don't have one that looks like it's sculpted in there and one that's, you know, looks like it has some fluidity to it. But really, really incredible detailing, good proportions, especially head on. It looks a lot like what we see on the film. Really nice. I mean, it would have been cool if they made a very large one for the 6-inch figures, but that probably would have just been too big. So this is what each of the missiles looks like. It's got a blue tip to it, but it's really nicely detailed. And you also have some like alien-looking detailings in there and a nice little red light. So how this shoots out is you have this piece of alien engineering architecture kind of design there. It's circular, and I believe you press that in and it should shoot. Oh, it just falls out. So let's try the other one. Let's see how powerful these are. That one's a lot stronger. So this one must have been the like the missile that Russell has, Randy Quaid. You know, it was a dud. So the other thing we have here are the bombs. So it can drop bombs, kind of like the TIE bomber. And I believe how that works is you push into these triangular panels, and this little aperture design around it should widen and allow them to fall through. And that doesn't seem to be working. They seem to be jammed. So I'm going to have to play around with that. So it's probably because they're very oddly shaped. I remember seeing them in another YouTuber's video, and they're very, very detailed. Actually, I think I figured it out. Okay, so you pull down this tab here, and that widens them. Okay, so we just widen the apertures, and then we push down on the panels. I believe that's what goes on. Yep. So you press down on the panel after you pull down this tab, and look at all the detailing we have in here. This is just really lots of, let's see here. Lots of really nice details going on in there. Lots of cool little alien engineering things, lots of texture. I mean, these aren't even in the movie, so it's amazing they put so much detail and effort into it. Of course, we got the floppy disk, the mission disk, that all of them have with the ID4 logo and the nice image of the biosuit. So this is number 8. I don't have anything that can play this on, but you can watch them on YouTube. People have uploaded them to YouTube. I watched the one for the Supreme Commander, and they're very trippy, but they have some cool sound effects. So how the cockpit opens up. There's this tab in here, so you can kind of press that in, and then this is going to just completely lift up, which reveals the alien. Welcome to Earth. So you see he's in this harness, so he has kind of like a, this looks like a harness slash maybe like control panel or like a monitor, and then he has this like headrest slash harness that he's in. So and what is cool about all his little tentacles is they're kind of jutting out, and it looks like he could be operating all these controls around him. So I do like the use of translucent plastic there. It looks like, you know, he's got like a glowing work area, like it's got some technology in it. It does not light up when you press the buttons. The only parts that light up are the outside of the ship. So this whole seat is removable, but I'm just going to keep it in there so it doesn't get loose. And you could just pull back the harness and you can slide him out. Now he is a rubbery figure, so I'm kind of worried about things tearing on him, especially since there's so many tiny little details. It's nice that they went to all this effort to incorporate all the little details in him and make him look as realistic as possible. I mean, this is really impressive to have this much detailing on something that is this size. I mean, you can make out his eyes, the little weird tendril things around like his mouth area, the nice change in coloration around the head, all the nice little changes in coloration on the tentacles. You have all 8 tentacles. They all have the same like weird little prongs at the end, but all these nice little details in his hands. And he's just got this, see, he's got this rubbery feel to him, so you can move the tentacles around. No bendy wires or anything, but yeah, he just feels very delicate. So I'm kind of worried that if I have him, I don't know, lined up incorrectly, he's gonna get smushed or torn if I, you know, slam this down. I'm sure a lot of kids had these get all gnarled up and ripped up, you know, during play. I mean, I think a plastic one would have been better. Maybe in like a pre-posed state, but I don't know, maybe that would have prevented this from shutting properly, because it's a really, really tight fit. You have to have him like leaning back and lined up just perfectly for this open area to go over him, because there really isn't a lot of room in the cockpit, and this isn't as high up as you think. It gets pretty tight in there. So even though, like I said, it looks like there's a lot of space in there, but really cool. I'm so glad they decided to include him. I like how they put an alien in here and not like a little Will Smith or little Jeff Goldblum or anything like that. We're here for the aliens, as cool as those guys are. So I like that they included that. And I believe the jet came with a little person. I don't know if it's the president or Will Smith or who, but I might even keep the alien out and then just keep this closed up without him in it. It might shut better that way. I'm not quite sure, but let's see. Will it? I don't know. I'm just gonna take the whole seat out, even though I just said a second ago I wasn't going to do that. But really, really sharp. So very nice representation, especially for the 90s. If you look at most 90s vehicles, they're very well done, like in the Jurassic Park line, the Star Wars lines, etc. But they're always like oddly out of proportion. And some of that is for keeping the price down or incorporating action features or making it so you can have some playability and put the main toy line action figures in it, keep everything in scale. But yeah, I mean, I like that they deviated from that here and just did their own scale for this line of ships. There was like a metallic chrome style one that was released later on, but that one's pretty hard to find. So I actually like this one better because it's darker, like the ones in the film. So if you haven't already, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys around. Bye.